Coco Gauff's serving struggles labeled a mental problem after shock United Cup loss. Coco Gauff's serving woes continued on Monday morning as she was stunned by Jessica Buza's Monero at the United Cup. Gauff struggled to find consistency on her serve throughout 2025 and enlisted the services of biomechanics coach Gavin McMillan in August 2025 to assist with the troublesome shot. Progress appeared to have been made throughout the Asian swing. Gauff won the Wuhan Open and her double fault numbers were down. However, her troubles returned on Monday morning at the United Cup. The American star struck 14 double faults on her way to losing 6-1, 6-7, 6-0. Rick Matchey, the former coach of the Williams sisters, does not believe Gauff's serving struggles in Australia were due to any technical flaw. Rick Matchey says Gauff's serving struggles at the United Cup were mental rather than a technical issue. Matchey, who has also worked with Maria Sharapova and Andy Roddick, has weighed in on the progress of Gauff's serve following her poor showing on Monday. Coco and her serve is better, Matchey said in a post on X, formerly Twitter. Technically it is better. What happened at the United Cup was all mental. She is on track. But I would 100% go to a platform stance and rewire everything to have even less movement to not wobble under pressure. Gauff is a world-class talent who, on any given day, can dismantle any player on the WTA Tour. However, until she fixes her serving issues, she will remain a limited threat against her peers. One can only hope that Gauff's serve is firing on all cylinders in time for the Australian Open, a tournament she is yet to win. The US have topped their United Cup group after defeating Argentina and Spain in the group stage. As a result, they will play the runner-up of the Perth group. The US will find out their opponents on Monday evening following Great Britain's match against Greece. The winner of the US's quarter-final tie will play Czechia or Poland in the semifinals. The serve is tennis's most solitary act. Before the rally, before the chase and the roar, there is a pause in which the player stands alone with a ball, a racket, and her thoughts. For Coco Gauff, that pause became unusually loud after her shock loss at the United Cup, a match that didn't just end in defeat, but in questions. Questions about rhythm, about confidence, and, most pointedly, about the mind. When observers labeled Gauff's serving struggles a mental problem, the word landed with weight. Mental can sound dismissive, as if the issue is imaginary, or worse, a personal weakness. But in elite sport, the mental game is neither vague nor secondary. It is the invisible architecture holding everything else together. And when it cracks, even slightly, the most practiced motion can unravel. Coco Gauff knows the serve well. She has spent years refining it, strengthening it, rebuilding it. Coaches have tweaked grips and ball tosses. Trainers have added muscle and balance. On paper, her serve should be a weapon, powerful, reliable, capable of setting the tone. Yet, at the United Cup, it faltered. Double faults crept in. Second serves sat up. The motion looked tight, rushed, as if the body was trying to escape before the mind gave permission. This is where the conversation turns inward. A serve is muscle memory until it isn't. At its best, it flows without conscious thought, a practiced ritual repeated thousands of times. But pressure has a way of dragging that ritual into the spotlight. Suddenly the player is thinking about elbow position, about the toss drifting left, about the last double fault that earned a groan from the crowd. The mind starts narrating what the body once knew in silence. For Gauff, the United Cup was not just another early season event. It came with expectations of leadership, of momentum, of proof that she remains one of the defining forces in women's tennis. Each missed serve added another layer of awareness. Each layer made the next attempt heavier. Calling this mental is not an insult. It is an acknowledgement of complexity. Gauff's career has unfolded under a microscope. From the moment she burst onto the scene as a teenager, she has been described in terms of potential, destiny, inevitability. That kind of narrative is empowering, but it is also demanding. It leaves little room for messy days, for mechanical regressions, for uncertainty. When a serve breaks down under those conditions, it doesn't exist in isolation. It echoes against every expectation placed on her shoulders. The United Cup loss forced a reckoning not because it happened, but because of how it happened. The scoreboard told one story. The service line told another, of hesitation, of interruption, of a player negotiating with herself in real time. Sports psychologists often describe pressure as a narrowing of attention. Instead of seeing the whole court, the athlete fixates on the risk of failure. For a server, that risk lives in the net, in the long line, in the second serve that invites attack. The arm tightens not from fear, but from over-control, the desire to steer what should be released. Gauff herself has been open about her mindset before. She speaks thoughtfully, with self-awareness uncommon for someone so young. That openness is part of her strength, but it also means she feels things deeply. When the serve goes awry, it's not just a technical note in a coach's notebook, it's a conversation she has with herself between points. And that conversation can be unforgiving. What makes serving struggles particularly cruel is their visibility. A missed forehand can be explained away by timing or footwork. A broken serve repeats itself, announces itself, and stops play altogether. The player must return to the same spot, bounce the ball again, and face the same task under brighter lights. At the United Cup, Gauff did just that, again and again, without finding her escape hatch. The loss was sudden, jarring, and instantly dissected. Pundits reached for explanations, and mental was the word that stuck. But mental does not mean permanent. In fact, mental struggles are often the most fixable, once named correctly. They require patience rather than panic, reframing rather than rebuilding. For Gauff, this may mean simplifying the serve temporarily, accepting lower speeds in exchange for trust. It may mean working with sports psychologists to quiet the internal commentary, to restore the serve as an act rather than a decision. There is precedent. The sport is full of champions who lost and found their serves again. What separates those who recover from those who spiral is not talent, but relationship, to pressure, to expectation, to self. Coco Gauff's story is still being written. A single United Cup loss, however shocking, does not redefine her trajectory. If anything, it exposes the human layer beneath the highlight reels. It reminds us that even the most gifted athletes must renegotiate confidence again and again.